should see the Way to Health template 2016, correct? Great. All right. Awesome. So what you're going to want to do, the first thing is every time that you make a survey that's going to go into Way to Health, it must be off of this template. So the first thing that you'll do for every single new survey is you will go to the copy button and you will click copy. And you'll see it says Way to Health template 2016 copy, and you're going to want to rename that to something that's relevant for you. So you can, this doesn't matter what it says for now, the name can be edited, but it would be like screening survey or informed consent or something like that. So, test. And today's the 23rd.
And Devin, if you were to create, let's say, like a 6-month survey, and you copy it off of the template, and then you want to use that same survey, your 6-month survey, for 12 months, you can then copy the 6-month because it was originally copied from the template?
No.
No? Okay. So you have to, yeah.
You can pull the questions in, which I will show you how to do. And then once you do that, you're going to have to refresh, and your survey that you just created off of the template should show up. So you'll see now my ITMAT training test 623 now shows up. And you can then click into that. Okay. So, deleting. All right, so someone edited this survey earlier. So if you have these 4 extra questions that should not be in there, are you guys seeing 4 extra questions? Go to block options on the right and delete the block. Okay, so now we should be starting fresh. If you go to this little drop down arrow, this is what you should see. So you can create a new question. So for example, if we're doing a screening survey, you can click onto the text here where it says click to write the question text. And for example, a first question might be, are you 18 years of age or older? And then you can press enter, not enter. You can click the first question choice, and you can put yes. And then Qualtrics will try to prompt what it thinks you want. So because I put yes and there's 3 choices selected, it's going to put maybe and no. So for this question, we only want yes or no. So I'm going to put no as my second choice. And then go over to where it says the number of choices on the right and make this 2, and it'll eliminate that last choice. Does anyone have any questions so far? Yes.
I'm a little lost.
Okay, sorry, too fast.
No, it's okay. Also, I forgot my glasses.
Oh.
Today, so I didn't realize I didn't open the board. So I can't really see what I'm doing.
Do you want to come sit here?
Yeah, that might be better.
Yeah. It's not the best angle, but we can probably turn a little bit better.
Slide it in.
Yeah. I always forget my glasses when I come up here, so I understand. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, so wait, do I go from here? Or do I take it?
Oh, they have the updated version of Qualtrics.
They do?
Yeah, look at it. We still have the old version.
It should still, if you hit that.
Yeah,
little block there.
so we need to delete this because someone accidentally added this today. Delete. Okay, now you're starting fresh. Okay, so then you can click create new question.
Okay.
And then here, you can put like, are you 18 years of age or older, as an example.
Create a new question.
And then you're going to want to click here, like one of the click to write choice. Yep. And then you can put like yes. And then, yep. And then because you want to eliminate one of the choices because we only want it to be a yes or a no. Can you just do that? Yeah, perfect. And then that's it for that one. So for every question, you'll see on the side, it'll have like Q, this one has Q102, like the radio station. You're going to want to put a name code for it so that when your analysts go and pull it, they'll know like what this correlates to. So for 18 years or older, I would put something like age. Doesn't matter what it is. It's arbitrary, just something that identifies the question.
And this is how you'll build your data dictionary
Yes.
at the end. And you can, we'll get to this later, but just add them as you go, and then at the very end, you can actually export it as a Word document and get all your variables for all your questions.
So this is like the most basic version of a question. So let's now, we put in the age here, the identifier. Now we have to code each value. So you're going to want to go to the little gear icon under age and scroll, and you should see recode values. And select that. And then check the recode values, and you'll see now that yes is a 1 and no is a 2. And again, these numberings are arbitrary. They just identify the responses. And then close. Tori's going to get her steps in here.
So it's a little, click out of that. It's the one right before.
So you guys, I guess every new account now has like a new, they said that they were launching a new version of Qualtrics, and we were like, oh great, just as we're doing these like new training sessions. So that's why mine's like retro and yours is all nice.
I was like looking at the girl next to me.
Yeah.
Oh, or for
Yeah, she has the same. Yeah, she has the same
Oh,
one as
really?
Yeah.
That's weird because I don't
And
even know.
we'll give you a recode
I created
for
yours
that,
before I
which is
created
the
hers.
text response.
Okay. So recoding is just
Maybe they're
like a
piloting it
drop-down
on some random people.
choice.
Sometimes they do that stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Got lucky, I
Yeah.
guess.
Lucky baby.
Like it won't let me click on it.
Yeah, I think if it's like a scale, it won't let you because it's.
Yeah, a scale, you don't need to recode because if it's like a numbered scale,
Yeah,
a
Okay,
1
so
will be a
it'll
1, a
just-
2
yeah.
will be a 2,
Okay. And it's
etc.
okay with negatives?
Yes?
Go to advanced options and check up there. And then go to.
So let's, while Tori's helping them, let's go to another question type. So let's do the next one. What is your weight in pounds? Now this we don't want it to be a multiple choice because, you know, weight, that would make it be so many so many options. So we want this to be a free text. So over on the right, instead of multiple choice, we're going to change this to text entry. Yeah, and then text entry. Great.
Oh, cool.
And then this allows the participant to type in, you know, 150 or 200 or whatever. So then we're going to want to recode or rename the question. So I'm just going to call this LBS for pounds.
Do we uncheck it?
Oh, yeah, uncheck. You can uncheck it. Cool. Yours is automatically defaulting. That's so crazy. Now you don't need to recode open responses because there is no way to code an open response. It is what it is. It's whatever in the text box. It's only for multiple choices. So that's how to do a text entry. Sure.
The text entry. So I noticed that you're able to do a How is that coded in the data that you get? Are they like delimited by commas or semicolons, or are they actually different variables?
It will just be like the text itself. It won't assign a number to it or
So with like choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, if I say like A, B, C, will it just concatenate all of those strings, or?
I think it should. I think what'll happen, at least this is what I'm thinking it'll do, once it's in an Excel form, you would see like your 3 different lines and then the free text would be under that. So it would be like a column header.
Yeah.
And your free text would be below that. I see.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. And maybe, is that the form right there?
Yeah.
Do you want to just plug in something and see, like just choice 1 through to see if it lets you recode it at all?
Yeah. No. So that must be the coding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in there will probably be the column header, and then the text would be like in the rows. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's find another good example to try. Okay. So we're going to do one more multiple choice, and then we're going to base another question off of that multiple choice. So the next question is going to be, who is your employer? The first response, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do from the real survey, IBC, SEPTA, and City of Philadelphia, COP. All right, now we're going to want to rename this. I'm just going to do employer. I'm going to recode because it's multiple choice. And then we want to only display the next question if someone selects Independence Blue Cross. So let's do the next question. So click Create New Question. Then, do you work at 1500 Spring Garden? And the choices are yes or no. Change it down to 2 choices. I'm just going to call this question SG for Spring Garden. I am going to recode it. So this is the normal process. And is everyone caught up? Okay. And then
Make it bigger at all? I don't know.
sorry.
Yeah. I'm like standing back here.
Let's see.
Yep, that's what it did. Which is fine as long as you have a data dictionary. You can give that to the analyst.
Okay.
Say like 1 corresponds to this, 2 corresponds to that.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, no. Most of them you can modify. I don't know why. I guess like for a scale.
Is that better? Tori?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Didn't even realize.
Oh, let me see if I can I can recode, I think. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so now we only want to display this 1500 Spring Garden question to people that work at IBC. So we want to add display logic to the 1500 Spring Garden question. So you're going to come over to display logic, which is on the right-hand side. And then it's going to say if question, and then you have to select the question. So who is your employer? And then you have to say, well, we only want it for the answer choice IBC. So then you select IBC is selected. Then you're going to display this question. Does that make sense? Does anyone? Okay, cool. And then save. And then you'll now see that this display logic is here. So it's only going to display to people that say that they work at IBC. All right. And you could also do, just as a side note, you can do more than one. So let's say you wanted to say, or if they say that their employer is SEPTA. So you would display this question if they said that they worked at IBC or they said they worked at SEPTA. So you can have more than one display logic.
How do you do the or?
Sure. The little plus, and then you change the and.
Logic, so it's kind of the same
Yep.
as display, where display would be
Oh, not that. Yeah.
only just
And
one,
then
one
who's your
question, but you
employer
can skip a block,
is
which is similar.
SEPTA,
You just hit the add skip
and then
logic,
save.
and then you set it up the same way.
So in the app, do blocks
Oh,
show
cool.
as separate
Okay.
pages? So say I have a block for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anytime you add a display or a skip, when the participant is viewing it, it will only go up to the question up until you have the display logic, and then depending what they answer,
Mm-hmm.
then the page will sort of refresh, and then all the next questions will show up.
Okay. Does in page, does that just affect which block you're in? Or is that just
I don't know the answer to that. You know, like if you click on your, if you just click on the display logic.
Oh. Here,
Yeah,
the edit.
and that see how it
Oh.
says in page. You know what that does? I've never used it.
I've never used that before.
You could always like enable it and then go to
Oh.
preview
And then preview, see what it does.
And however it previews in Qualtrics is how it's going to preview in Way to Health because you're using Way to Health format. So it's that little
oh I see.
magnifying glass.
Okay. So let's try a date, because a lot of the times you'll ask someone, not necessarily their date of birth, because you can pull that in Way to Health, but we'll just use that for an example. So I'm just going to call it, say, DOB. And I don't want this to be multiple choice. I want it to be text entry. And I'm also going to rename the question to be DOB as well. Now we don't want someone to just be able to put any random thing in here. We want to make sure that they're actually putting a real date in there. So we're going to want to put content validation. So that's one of the options on the right-hand side for text entry questions. So you're going to select that. And then you'll see when you select content validation, it'll give you certain options like a phone number or a postal code. We want the date option. And I believe you can have multiple formats of the date, yeah. We usually just choose the first one, but it's really your preference. And what will happen is if a participant puts in a date, if they're filling out this survey themselves or if you're doing it for them, it will basically give them an error if they try to go to the next page without it in the correct format. So what we'll often do is, like where I have the DOB question, I'll put like this format just so that they know that that's how they should put it in.
And one thing I just want to point out with these text entries, so the formatting can be a little weird
Yeah.
in the Way to Health formatting. So if your question or statement is pretty long, it's going to appear in that box to the participant. Debbie, do you want to just like type a sentence in? It's probably
Yeah.
easier to like just type a long sentence in to one of those.
Yeah.
And we can show you how to make the formatting look better.
Yeah.
What happens is it kind of like overwrites that text box, and then it just doesn't look as essentially all this great text covering where they're supposed to be typing.
Is that good?
Perfect.
All right.
And then just preview it.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
See how it's sort of like all over it? So in that case, what you would do is you would enter
Just a text box
text
above.
box. Yeah.
So instead, you'll want to add a question above, and instead of it being an actual question, you want it to be a descriptive text. That's good.
And then you would put your sentence there, and then underneath that, you could either leave it blank, or if it's something like a really long sentence, something, enter this date, and then
Yeah.
you just put the
Like-
date, something like that, so that way it has some context form. But otherwise, it'll show immediately below it.
So what's that? So
Yep.
Okay.
So
How many sentences or how many words can you have in
So I have this.
I don't know the exact
Yep, so you want to put
number.
a question
It's
above it
not many.
and then change that to
Yeah,
text
just a couple.
entry?
Yeah, so we tend to just split it
Or,
up.
I'm sorry, descriptive text.
And then when it appears to
And
the
then click
participant,
there. And then that's where you're going to put, like, if there's a really long sentence,
Oh, gotcha.
like blah, 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 blah. And then,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
sure,
pull
sure.
this.
And then that way, because if you were to put this really long thing here, it's going to go over the box. And it doesn't look good.
Gotcha.
So it's better to separate it out. And you can test all of that by, so then if you scroll up,
okay. So that's how it'll appear. So the text will be right above it.
and then you can go
And then the
to
text entry is right
preview
below it.
survey.
So from a participant point of view, you can't tell it's two separate questions or two separate entries.
So you want them to be able to say like, I work for both ITMAT and center, right?
No. So I wanted to do an if question,
So then if you
and I
scroll
wanted
down,
to be if you selected anything, any of them other than like.
and then go to the next page.
These are not selected if you go to this.
Okay, that's what I did. Yeah.
See how now it's not, like mine originally was like overlapping.
Yeah.
So now it looks better.
So this is the question, right?
Yes.
And
So
then-
that'll be like, what is your birthday? But it'll obviously be like a lot longer. And then
This
if
is
you
like-
were to put it there, it would not look good because it
Yeah.
would format over top. Whereas just having DOB is okay, but
And then you're able to
And then
answer.
you'll
And
want
then-
to test
yep,
it,
gotcha.
make
Yep.
sure, you know, if you're, whatever the display logic is, you want to make sure that's how it's appearing when you test it.
let's see.
So these check marks will show up, right?
Is there any other good ones? So for each question, you can decide whether you want to force a response or not. So if I scroll back up to the first question and I highlight it, you'll see on the side force response.
That's the question.
If you check this, you'll now see that there's a red asterisk on the side. This means that the person cannot move forward in the survey without answering this question. So for like an eligibility screening questionnaire, you're going to want every single question to be forced. You don't want them to skip anything. Whereas a demographic, they might not want to give their income, so you'll let them skip it. You can make it force response or request response. So request response just gives them a little bit of a prompt if they leave it blank. So like the salary one or the income, you can say, if they try to move forward without answering it, you can say, are you sure you want to move forward? You left one question unanswered.
Force and request response.
Yep.
Gotcha. And so mine isn't red. It's just like.
Oh, okay.
Is that fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you go over it, see this question has validation.
Okay.
And you can do that for specific questions or all of them.
So validate response.
Don't get that.
So I know for the red
Uh-huh.
response,
Yeah.
but that's not the same. They can still leave the question they want you to read.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. If you have it with the validate and it's a forced response, then they must answer it. If it's a request response, it'll just prompt them if they leave it blank. Or you can not have either of those. Yeah. You can have none and uncheck that, and then it goes away. What other things do we need to make sure we show? There's a lot of different question types, but
Yeah. I mean, you'll play around with it when you're building it, and then you'll kind of learn like what the different
Yeah.
question types are. I think like the basics are just learn how to recode your variables. You want to make sure you're recoding them and naming your variables, because when you go to
Yeah.
export that, if it's much harder for the analyst if they don't have an actual variable name.
yeah.
And then display and skip logic. I think that's kind of the basics.
Yeah, as far as the question types, Way to Health supports the static content, which is the descriptive text, and the standard questions, but like Qualtrics gets really funky down here and like lets you do some weird stuff like this. Like I would avoid these specialty questions, or I don't even know what these advanced things are
yeah.
because
Oh, we should show them how to copy questions like a block.
yes. That's a great idea. Okay. So I'm going to collapse this block. You don't need to do that, but you can. At the top, if you scroll up. And then I'm going to add in a new block. So sometimes if like, whoa, that is not what I wanted to do. New, where is it? Wait. Add block, sorry. It's at the bottom right, add new block.
What do the different blocks do?
So it separates by page.
Okay,
So, like,
I knew that.
Yeah.
So when they finish that block, it'll like refresh and take you to a new page.
Yep.
Okay.
And also, if you have like a really lengthy, I know for like CDC had a really lengthy baseline survey, they would like have like the PHQ 7, like one block, like the PHQ 2, yeah, and then like have it separated by different sections. So one of the things that you can do is you can pull in questions from other surveys. So let's say you have a 6-month survey and then you have a 12-month survey, and your 12-month survey is very similar to your 6-month. You can pull in the questions from the 6-month. So you'll, obviously first you always have to copy the Way to Health template, but then you can do copy items from, and you can go to My Surveys, and it will literally bring up every single one of your surveys. So let's just do this. And you can select specific questions that you want to bring in, or you can do the entire survey, and it will pull it in for you. And now you can see them here, pulled in from that survey. The only things that it won't do is you'll have to rename. You'll see over here. So you do have to go through and rename, but it does bring the coding over. So it brings the coding but not the naming, which is kind of odd. But it brings over all the display logic and everything. So that's nice if you have kind of repeating surveys that are pretty similar. Mm-hmm. And then let's do the data dictionary. Yeah. So once your survey is done and it's all set up, and you usually don't have to do this until, data analysis time, but, sometimes you might have to refer back to it before then. You'll want to basically download all of the questions and the answers with their coding. So you'll go to Advanced Options on the right-hand side on the survey, and then you'll see all the way at the bottom, Export Survey to Word. And then you're going to select Export. And then when you open it, that is very small. Okay. You will see all your questions, and then you'll see the coding for the multiple choice questions. And then it will also show you the display logic too. It's not quite as clear as it is in Qualtrics, but you can see it here.
So wait, how do I do that?
Yep, so you'll go to...
And the variable names is
So like
also not clear, but they just tack it right before that's the question. So usually what some analysts will, you can just put this into like we usually do Excel documents, and you just have the variable name and then the coding next to it, and just you can have multiple tabs for all your different surveys, and then I think the coding carries over into Way to Health as well. So if you're viewing a screening survey in Way to Health, whatever you name the variables will show as the column headers in Way to Health and Manage Data. So if you name them something similar to the question, it's much easier to kind of remember what the actual question is, as opposed to like a number code.
Oh my gosh, it's retro. Do you want me to show an informed consent?
Yeah. And they should be good.
Yeah. All right. So as odd as this sounds, we consider informed consents like surveys, so you will add them in here. even though it'll usually just have one question about whether they want to participate. So I just want to show you guys what that looks like.
We could probably share a sample, right?
Yeah, I can share this one. This is the one I made for the demo site.
Okay.
That is like X'd out. So you will literally just go in and add those text entries, like so. The descriptive texts. That did not work. Descriptive text. Oh, it's locked. How do I unlock? Okay. All right. So you'll make a descriptive text, and you literally can just copy paste from Word your entire informed consent. Now, because it's going to be way longer than the length of one descriptive text will allow, you'll have to add maybe like 3 or 4. You can see here, here's one. This one's really long. But here's another one. They're separate questions, but not really questions.
It'll all display as one.
Yeah, and it will, yes, exactly. It will display as like one long form for the person. So when you preview it, it will look like one long form to the person. They'll have no idea. And then at the bottom, you can put in the question of asking them if they would like to participate. And I can share this with you guys. So you can see what it looks like.
And then I'm trying to think, saving, it should save automatically. As you're working on it. And then this unlocked and locked survey, so, we should show them how to activate it.
Yeah, oh, yep.
So I don't think it gets locked until it's active, right?
Right.
Yep. Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, so once you have finalized your survey content, you just come back to your main screen here, and it's as simple as checking a box to make it active. And that's, I don't want to say locks it, you can still edit it, but if you go to edit it, it will prompt you, are you sure you want to unlock it? Because if you change certain questions, it can throw off everything.
Invalidate.
Yeah, and invalidate the survey as it's been taken before. So it'll prompt you numerous times, like, are you sure, are you sure? And if you're just editing content, it'll be fine, but you don't want to be adding extra questions. And it gives you enough prompts that you probably won't accidentally do it.
Yeah.
And then you can collaborate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So if I wanna.
So if there's multiple coordinators working on the same project, or if you want to share it with your PI or whatever, you can just search for them and just hit add, and then.
And I'm gonna share this informed consent with you guys, just so you can see. When I type in my name, I'm like the only one.
I think that's the basics, right?
Yeah, I think that's.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the basics. If you guys want to just work on building it, and then we're here if you have questions. If we can't answer your questions, we can look into it and get back to you. And then we'll go over in our next session how to pull it into Way to Health and then actually add the feedback on the various questions. So I would recommend at least completing, if you could, even if it's not going to be your final document, trying to have a consent together and then a screening survey, and if you have a baseline survey, if you could have that in Qualtrics for next session, that'll be helpful.
Should I do that as well?
Yeah, just because we're going to be building enrollment, so it'll probably be helpful to see how enrollment is built. Yeah.
So screening, baseline, and informed consent.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it would be good practice.
There's like 6.
Yeah.
This is everyone.
I don't know what it did. Like, I think I accidentally deleted them. And
Great.
then decided, oh, I should change
Let me show you when you're done.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, and then I'm gonna end the session.
I have a question.
Okay.
it. I think
All right, where did it go? Here we go.